I'm Kumal Samaru, Chairman of Demerara Distillers. You are watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
The time by Caricris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The Business News headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
A tariff time bomb, tax shakeup in TNT, and a Wall Street boom. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Tuesday, October 14, 2025. I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast, locally, a tariff time bomb. Jamaican businesses urged to brace for delayed trade shocks in the coming year. On the regional front, Trinidad and Tobago weighs sales tax to replace VAT, relief pledged on refund backlog. And over on the global stage, Wall Street booms as record corporate deals drive profits. But top bankers warn the party may not last. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after this.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
Hip dips and split for in the mind, let's get healthy with it. Sometimes the body's so hard, but the body wants it. And then your head is so home, and it's so like this. So we gotta go 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. One more now. 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3, go.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with a warning that could shape Jamaica's economic outlook heading into next year. Jamaica may be standing in the calm before the storm as its trade exposure to the United States enters a critical watch period. While the U.S. effective tariff rate has surged to more than 17%, with Jamaican goods now facing a 10% baseline, analysts say the country has not yet felt the full weight of these measures. Chairman of the Port Authority of Jamaica, Alok Jean, explains that front-loading by companies, both locally and globally, has shielded them from immediate cost spikes. He notes that this strategy, combined with elevated global inventory levels, has temporarily delayed the inflationary and trade effects of Washington's new tariff regime.
According to the WTO, global merchandise trade outpaced expectations in the first half of 2025. So even though some tariffs have gone in, you know, they were announced, then they were deferred, it's been on and off. A lot of companies have actually front-ended the tariffs by ordering before the tariffs kick in. They had inventories, so you haven't really seen the full effect of the tariffs.
But Jean warns the cushion won't last forever. Once those stockpiles thin out, he says the real impact will filter through supply chains and consumer markets.
The initial projection was for the growth to be only 0.9% for 2025, but we're seeing 2.4%. It's almost the same as 2024. It's pretty stable. But look at next year. The projection is for that to fall to 0.5%. And the initial projection was 1.8. So that is a steep fall off.
Meanwhile, Jamaican exporters are being urged to abandon the wait-and-see approach and start planning for a future where U.S. tariffs are a permanent fixture, not a passing phase.
Make no mistake, these tariffs are not going away. Right? So there is a view that maybe, you know, we can just wait out the current U.S. administration, and in 2028, things will change. These new tariffs have already generated $88 billion in additional revenues this year for the U.S.
In a stark warning, the trade expert warned businesses banking on political change to reverse tariffs that they could be making a costly miscalculation.
For those of you who believe the tariffs are going to be reversed, recall that the tariffs that were imposed under the first Trump administration against China were largely maintained, if not expanded, under the Biden administration. Right? So there's a lot of talk about this, but protectionism has now become a structural, bipartisan feature of American politics. So no one wants to do the dirty work of imposing them, but once somebody has done that dirty work, nobody's going to roll them back, right? So let us understand that this new regime, this new economic order is here to stay.
That was Chairman of the Port Authority of Jamaica, Alak Jean. And 3.98 million Jamaican dollars, that's the price tag attached to a bold green investment now reshaping the Queenith community in St. Anne. The Queenith Pocket Park, officially opened last Friday, is part of the government's National Pocket Park Initiative, a program designed to turn idle lands into productive, eco-friendly community spaces that drive local enterprise and renewal. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, Arlene Williams, says the project was executed following technical assessments carried out in April of last year.
So for the Queen Height Pocket Park, preliminary assessments were conducted in April 2024 and the conceptual designs were prepared. Following the procurement process, which was a very transparent one, I might add, the contractor, A&L Industrial Specialties Limited, was selected, and the work therefore began in June at a cost of $3.98 million.
That was Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, Arlene Williams. In financial news, Paramount Trading Jamaica Limited is off to a strong start in its 2025-26 financial year, reporting a sharp turnaround in first quarter performance driven by surging construction demand and disciplined cost control. According to its unaudited results for the 3 months ended August 31, 2025, gross revenue climbed 14.4% year-on-year to $445.2 million Jamaican dollars, up from Jamaican $389.1 million in the corresponding quarter of 2024. That top-line growth powered a $73.3 million profit before tax, a dramatic reversal from a $37.9 million loss a year earlier. Earnings per share moved to 36 cents from a loss of 25 cents over the same period. The company is crediting a 140% surge in its construction segment as the primary driver of its strong revenue performance, supported by steady growth of 12% in its technical grade business and 1% in bleach sales. Meanwhile, gross profit rose 57.7% to $210.4 million Jamaican dollars, while operating expenses declined by 8.1% to Jamaican $116.3 million, signaling a leaner cost structure alongside higher sales volumes. Company Chairman Radcliffe Nibbs says the company remains focused on expanding its revenue base in line with strategic growth targets while maintaining cost discipline. We go now to updates from the Bank of Jamaica on how the currency markets traded today. In Tuesday's currency trading session, the US dollar is selling for $161.73, the Canadian for $114.83, the pound sterling for $216.54, and the going rate for the euro is $189.46. We move to the latest updates from the JSE equities. In Tuesday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 117 stocks, of which 46 advanced, 44 declined, and 27 traded firm. Leading the winners today, Main Event Entertainment Group, Caribbean Cream, Palace Amusement Company, and Cargo Handlers, while leading the losers are the Limnas and Bards, Margaritaville Turks, Iron Rock Insurance Company, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company. The main index advanced by 679.08 points or 0.21% to close at 322,553.99 points. The junior market index advanced by 12.70 points or 0.38% to close at 3,346.60 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standard.
In today's Market Education Feature, we will be looking at the term net profit margin. A net profit margin, also referred to as a net margin, refers to the amount of profit a business earns relative to its revenue. It is typically expressed as a percentage, though it can also be shown as a decimal. Net profit margin reveals how much profit a company retains from each dollar of revenue. It is calculated by dividing net income by total revenue and then multiplying the result by 100 to express it as a percentage.
The Market Education Feature was brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next.
The local news is brought to you by Diamond Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance of corporate registers. Stay ahead with our proactive approach to new regulations. We operate under the Trust and Corporate Service Provider, licensed to the JCSD Trustee Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. In Trinidad and Tobago, a major tax shakeup is set to take place that could redefine how businesses operate in Trinidad and Tobago. The government has announced plans for a formal review of the country's value-added tax system, with a view of replacing it with a simpler sales tax applied at the point of final transaction. For years, businesses have struggled with VAT refund delays, which lock up working capital and weaken investment. But speaking during the 2026 budget presentation on Tuesday, Finance Minister Devendranath Thankoo says that will soon change.
This government is today signaling its intention to review the existing VAT regime and, if feasible, replace it with a simplified, more efficient sales tax applied at the point of final transaction.
The finance minister notes the transition will be rolled out during the upcoming fiscal year.
The concept of the sales tax is simpler, more straightforward, easier to administer, and eliminates the persistent and complex problem of calculating and auditing refund claims. We plan to initiate this review in the current fiscal year with the necessary technical guidance.
That was TNT's Finance Minister Devendranath Thankoo. Meanwhile, TNT Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa says the government is moving to ease immediate cost of living pressures with targeted relief measures. At a post-budget news conference on Monday, the Prime Minister announced that the price of super gasoline is being cut by $1 per litre, a measure she projects will keep about $500 million in consumers' hands over the next year.
Effective immediately, we are reducing the price of super gasoline by $1 per litre. This is a direct measure to ease the burden on working families and small businesses. And what it means, I got a summary of how many liters of super gas sold at the pump for the year 2024. And the liters were 457,165,211 liters. You know what that means? Immediately, with this price reduction, $500 million will remain in the pockets of persons who drive cars.
She also announced plans to restore VAT exemptions and zero rating on several essential items.
We are also reinstating VAT exemptions on several essential items, and that list was rolled out by the Honourable Minister. Again, this will empower local farmers. Again, It will empower every citizen because it will bring down the price of food.
That was TNT Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Meanwhile, the government of St. Lucia is making its boldest move yet to supercharge youth entrepreneurship, doubling the Youth Economic Grant Program, unlocking what could be close to EC $9 million in fresh capital for young business owners. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Philip J. Peer says this injection is expected to create jobs in sectors like digital services, agro-processing, and the creative industries.
So what the government will do in this next term is we're going to double the money available to the youth economy for grants. We're going to double it. And then also there's a loan component which has been funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, and it's been administered by St. Lucia Development Bank. So we'll speak to the CDB to see what can happen there. The loan component has been a little slower than the grant component. The grant component has been much faster, so we're going to see if we can double it, double the amount available, and after discussions with the board, we'll see whether we can increase the amount.
That was Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Philip J. Peer. In other news, Caribbean Airlines has announced the resignation of Chief Executive Officer Garvin Madeira, effective immediately. In a statement on Monday, the board of directors thanked Madeira for his years of service and leadership, noting that his tenure helped steer the airline through some of its most challenging periods. In his farewell message, Madeira extended gratitude to employees, partners, and customers for their trust and loyalty over the years. In the same breath, Chief Operating Officer Nimarla Ramai has been appointed acting CEO and will work closely with the senior leadership team and the board to ensure a smooth transition. Meanwhile, the airline has assured customers and partners that its flights schedule will continue without disruption. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 20 securities, of which 3 advanced, 8 declined, and 9 traded firm. Today's winners are Angostura Holdings, Trinidad Cement, and Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago, while leading the losers are A.S. Bryden and Sons Holdings, One Caribbean Media, JMMB Group, and First Citizens Group Financial Holdings. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All-TNT Index declined by 10.05 points to close at 1,442.43. The Composite Index declined by 6.03 points to close at 991.53. The Cross-Listed Index declined by 0.24 points to close at 71.21. The SME Index remained at 99.17. And we take a short break. But please do stay with us. The international news segment is
We get it! We get the big contract! 50,000 units a month for 3 years! Great! But we need help.
If you are a business owner that requires capital for the expansion of your business, talk to a registered broker today to find out more about listing your company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, an efficient alternative to other financing options.
Thank God for the Jamaica Stock Exchange Junior Market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
back. In international news, A historic mergers and acquisitions M&A wave is powering Wall Street's biggest investment banks to blockbuster earnings in the United States. Goldman Sachs reported a 42% surge in investment banking revenue in the third quarter, while JP Morgan Chase & Company posted a 16% jump in fees. Wells Fargo and Citigroup also delivered strong performances, reflecting one of the busiest M&A seasons in years. Global investment banking fees have now hit US $99.4 billion in just 9 months, the highest level since 2021. Technology and financial sector deals dominated the quarter, with M&A activity soaring 40% year-on-year, driven by a record US $1.26 trillion in mega deals. The standout transaction, the US $55 billion acquisition of Electronic Arts, led by Silver Lake Public Investment Fund and Affinity Partners, the largest leveraged buyout in history. But amid the euphoria, top bankers are sounding alarms. Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase warned that many assets are entering bubble territory, while David Solomon of Goldman Sachs stressed the importance of disciplined risk management. And while Wall Street basks in record highs, on the other side of the Atlantic, policymakers are being urged to hit the brakes, not the accelerator. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, is warning the Bank of England to move cautiously on rate cuts as Britain faces the highest inflation in the G7. Chief economist Pierre-Olivier Gourinchas says inflation is forecast to average 3.4% this year and 2.5% next year, higher than any other advanced economy. That's despite stronger than expected growth of 1.3% in 2025, making the UK the G7's second fastest growing economy this year. The IMF attributes some of the inflation spike to temporary regulated price hikes, but warns of upside risk as wage growth remains elevated. It's calling for the BOE to ease very cautiously to avoid rating price pressures. Governor Andrew Bailey says he's seeing signs of cooling, including the lowest private sector wage growth since 2021 and unemployment at 4-year high, but inflation remains above the 2% target. Finance Minister Rachel Reeves and Bailey are in Washington for IMF meetings, where Trump's tariff shock is expected to dominate discussions. From inflation concerns in London, we move to Beijing's hardball trade response that's shaking up global shipping lanes. China sanctioned 5 US-linked subsidiaries of South Korea's Hanwha Ocean, barring Chinese entities from doing business with them. Beijing's response to a US probe into China's shipbuilding dominance. The move landed the same day reciprocal port fees took effect on each other's vessels. The shot is squarely at Hanwha's U.S. push, a $5 billion upgrade plan for the Philadelphia shipyard it acquired in 2024, alongside Jones Act tanker orders. Analysts warn the fees could hit a meaningful slice of global capacity, with street estimates pointing to low teens percentages of crude tanker fleets and around 1/10 of container ships exposed if rules are enforced strictly. And as trade tensions flare, one American retail powerhouse is betting on AI to change the way people shop. Shares of Walmart jumped nearly 5% to record US $107.21 after unveiling a major partnership with OpenAI. Under the new deal, customers will be able to shop directly through ChatGPT using instant checkout. They'll also be able to converse with the search bar on Walmart and Sam's Club platforms, moving beyond a static list to personalized recommendations and contextual responses. Analysts say the move could sharpen Walmart's edge against rivals, boost digital sales, and redefine e-commerce customer experience. The market clearly agrees, and Walmart now joins the growing list of major corporations betting big on generative AI. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side.
It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Don't never, ever, ever wanna calm down. Oh, no, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, tariff time bomb. Jamaican businesses urged to brace for delayed trade shocks. Regionally, T&T weighs sales tax to replace VAT. Relief pledged on refund backlog. And internationally, Wall Street booms as record corporate deals drive profits. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.